And so get the corners. Hopefully I'll get this right. I like to have a little cushion of a second layer on it. Okay, and what did I do? I had the... What are you looking for? Who took my... Oh, here they are. Okay. So I'm going to do it this way because... Yikes. That's hard to get around. I like to have a little bit of cushion to it. And I'm even doing this part of it, you know, so that none of it is a mystery. It's nothing like seeing it done. To see the artist struggling with the paper. And then so I'll show you the difference. First I'll do with the pastel, and then I'll do it with the oil. And when I set this up, I mean, it's hugely complicated, really, this thing. And what I had in mind at first was I was just going to do this little pot I have out there, the cerulean pot, you know, with the gorgeous cobalt on it, and a lemon, and keep it really simple. But it didn't end up that way. And I'm going to close this up because it's glaring in my eyes. Okay, so, and the light is different now than it was when I first set it up this morning. But, and the other thing is when we are going to be doing it out there, we'll probably be doing it with a spotlight on it. Makes it a lot easier. The spotlight is, to me, is like working from a photograph because everything is so so much more delineated by the light. And it's almost cheating. You know, it's like, oh, that looks really good. You know, you can get a really quick effect with that spotlight, and we'll do that. We'll work with the spotlight, and it's very satisfying. You can go and study with, you know, a still life painter, and they'll put that spotlight on it, or even with the figure and everything. And suddenly, you know, there are the reflected lights, there is the form carved, you know, completely out. And then you come into this space, which is a north light, and it's murky. So you have to look for the form a little more carefully, if that makes sense. Because the light is not going to make it so easy to find it. So what you end up having to do is to look at it and use your squinters. You squint. And everybody knows about squinting. Okay, so you know about the basic form. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm sure you had the little viewfinders. Okay, so the little viewfinder in my world, I thought would be like that. That's what I'm going to look for, because who wants to see all of this anyway? You know, we don't want to see the whole thing. We just want to take a piece out of it that we like. And, okay, so, spoiler alert, I went to Washington last night, and I got home so I have an excuse ahead of time. I got home at 1:30 in the morning. Something I never did. Okay, so I'm going to look at this thing and I'm going to squint. And I'm going to set in what appears to me to be, you know, just the form. Maybe I don't like being right there. I'm going to be over here. here's the other thing you want to remember. You want to be at eye level. And my easel's a little bit crooked. So I'm not going to worry too much about I'm gonna sort of place what I have, and very roughly. I want this back a little bit so I have space in the front for that thing. And maybe I want to move this over just a little bit. Let's see. So I've got my I'm looking at this thing here and I'm going back in. So I'm compressing it ahead of time. Do you know what I'm talking about? So we're going to go compress it underneath here right away. And that's where the bottom will be. Here's the lemon. Here's the pot. Here's the top of the pot. And then looking through the pot, there's going to be, here's the top of that. There's the top of that. Like so. And then you can kind of do like a line through the middle so that you get this part established right away. So it's going to be flatter in the back and rounder in the front. And why is it doing that? Because you're looking down on it slightly from the front. Okay. So now I'm gonna do some values, and I'm gonna put it right in there, like so.
Carolyn,
Yes,
what medium are you using exactly? That looks like very soft,
I'm using a pastel.
just a
I'm
pastel.
going to do one demonstration in pastel and another one in oil.
It's just a very soft pastel?
It's just sennelier. It's just an ordinary stick of sennelier.
Okay.
This is a probably some sort of some umber, some kind of an umber.
Thanks.
Okay, so this right here becomes hugely important because what you don't want is you don't want this part to come flopping down on you in the front. You want this to be compressed up into here. You want to look across because this is the foundation of your still life. You don't want it to go, and you want it to be up in the front. You get it? Mm-hmm. So, and then you want to look at the pot and you want to see around the pot like that, and you want to see the air behind the pot. So first what we're doing is just setting in the values to kind of get that. And this is going to be a little bit lighter. And I'm doing a lot of squinting. So I've got the shape of this light in here, something like this. Now, I have to keep track, of everything I'm doing here. I have to keep track of my drawing. And then we've got some green in the front. So I'll plunk in some green. There'll be some green up in here. Like that. This green will be, we'll end up having more green in it and less gold. And so because I'm a very lazy looker. I tend to use one brush and, you know, and I hang on to one color sometimes way longer than I should. So I'm going to drop some of this green in here. And then as it goes back, I will get it back in here. And it's going to be, this will poke down below it. This will be way down here, my thing. And then back here, it's gonna, I'll let it come up in here like that. Then I'm gonna drop in some orange here. It's gonna end up changing considerably, you know, before, and I'll drop a little bit there. There's a brush. There's another one coming up like so, and the other one's like that. And you see this value here just melts in with the background. So it's going to look like a mess for a little while. And then, you know, there are things that you can do with pastel that makes it really simple. Like, I can say I didn't like that drawing there, and I'm going to end up having to show, you know, more light behind there. I can just go ahead and carve it right in. And then, let's say this is going to end up looking too pink, so I can put some of this in it. This has got kind of a pink color to it. And, you know, we have to fix the shape of this. I'm going to drop in this as a color value, but it's just the underneath color because it's going to end up with a lot more of this in it. You know, being back there in the light, away from the light. You might have a little bit of it showing like that. And then the same thing with this one. You can put down a base, yellow, some green, or you can cover the whole thing with it like that. And then you have your highlight, and then use your complement of your color, which is, in this case, I'm using sort of a purpley brown, and you're going to go, that one's not letting me loose. Okay, I'm going to go like this, and here, and then I've got my cast shadow here, and here, and then under my, so I'm going to begin to see a few things taking a little more shape. I'm not spending a lot of time on futzing, you know, at this point. I'm placing values because in a short while some magic will begin to happen that you maybe didn't expect. We call it, and maybe you do know this well enough, with magic fingers. So I want some depth in this. I'm gonna want to put some depth in this right away. I'm looking at positive and negative space. I'm gonna have quite a bit of this color reflected in here. Some of it's gonna be darker and some of it's gonna be lighter. I got a little bit of the light side of this thing and the rest of it's gonna really just disappear. Not quite the right color, but we'll get there. We'll modify it. I think it probably needs a little bit of green in it and a little bit of pink to bring it down to the right tone. So now I'm moving this out like this. I've got this shape coming here like this. And all this will be in cast shadow.
That really makes it jump out.
Yeah. So I'm building the form with the, with the color and the value. And what I'm trying to do is to help you see that it is not as complicated. I really need a good old dark blue. A really good dark color, which is why it's so important to use these good pastels, because the others are just a waste of time. Now, I don't know where the rest of this piece of blue is, but this blue is really important. See that blue? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
See? It's really dark and rich.
Yeah, it's using your finger.
Right, and so it is valuable because this is what, it makes a difference when I want something really dark in here, that matters, and I don't have to necessarily use black. I can get that oomph that I want.
It's darker than ultramarine?
It's, I don't know, some sort of magic that it's pure pigment. It's what it is. So I can use that to come up a little bit on this lemon. It's a little, see how strong it is?
Mm-hmm.
How it makes that, so that's a little too much. But that's okay, I can modify it. It's gonna end up being, this is gonna end up like casting a shadow up here on this thing, on this lemon. And I don't really have the shape of the lemon quite right yet. Here we go. It's hiding more behind there than I thought, than I was having it be. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm gonna start to pop it together. Not everything, but just so you begin to see more of the form.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether I want to fool with all those brushes and everything today or not, showing you what's going on, but I can do some of this. Here we go. This goes way up here. and this one goes up here behind this guy. So you want these, you know, to kind of line up. This lines up with that one, and this lines up with that one, so that you get that distance and the perspective. And let's say I want to show, you know, the underside of this pot a little more. This is going to have to be, you know, carved down a little bit there. It's going to be carved down a little bit under here. So, beginning to make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so then this thing, which looks like a jumbled up mess, you know, that's why I love teaching in pastel, because I can show you the same thing in oil, but it's not as fast. And that's why it's so much fun when you're first learning this method, is to do it in pastel, so that, boom, you've got it, you know, and then you can transfer that understanding of just the simplicity of the forms and the color and the light and take it to your oil. And, you know, the rest of this, it just becomes, you know, it's window dressing. See? Flat. I want this, you know, like Nicole Curtis says, I just want brick. I just want that compression so that these guys are sitting in their right plane. This one isn't. You see?
Wow.
Yeah. Let me look. Not bad. Okay. So that's the idea. Now, I can take this a lot further. Pear. So that's a start.